There's a crack here. This looks like it has been repaired. Hey guys, I'm changing the spark plugs on this Honda i-DSI engine. The overall core procedure is similar for many engines. The engine is fairly cool right now, which can be important on an aluminum head engine. These i-DSI engines were used on various models like the 1st gen Honda Fit, Jazz, 4th gen Honda City, the 8th gen European Civic, and the 8th and 9th gen hybrid Civic. These 4-cylinder engines use 8 spark plugs, 2 per cylinder. VTEC engines have 1 plug per cylinder. They use different spark plugs. Models and spark plug part numbers will be listed in the comment section. The Honda Fit 07 to 08 introduced in the US market, for example, only came in a 1.5 liter VTEC engine. The Japanese and other markets had different variants, i-DSI and VTEC engines. You know this is an i-DSI engine because you have 4 spark plugs in the front, 4 on the back. The VTEC engines will only have 4 on the back. The engine cover will also have it written i-DSI or VTEC. On this it's missing. To remove this cover, you have to remove 2 10mm bolts on top. If you have the VTEC engine, you do not have to remove it. Replacing the back spark plugs for the i-DSI and VTEC engines is the same. We have to disconnect this electrical connector. Just push down on this tab and pull it out. The ignition coil is held by a single 10mm bolt. Just twist this a little bit and pull it out, and that's your ignition coil. We can see the exposed spark plug now. To remove the spark plug, you need a spark plug socket. So this is basically a 5/8 inch socket, deep socket, and it has a rubber insert that will grip the spark plug, so you can easily take it out. Yep, and here we have the spark plug. So you can see it's held in place due to the spark plug socket. Now I would do this one at a time because now this is exposed. I won't want something falling into the cylinder head. The ignition coils in the front have a slight physical difference to the ones in the back, so do not mix them up. So I just take my time and do, one by one. The ignition coil looks fine. I just cleaned it off. I do not see any signs of arcing, basically burn marks. There are no cracks. I'm going to apply some dielectric silicone grease over here on the edges and a little bit inside. What this does, it will prevent moisture from getting inside. It prevents this rubber boot from sticking onto the plug. And from what I've read online, it can prevent high voltage leaks. Older Honda service manuals say to apply some anti-seize on the threads, but NGK says not to because their plugs and even Denso plugs, they have some sort of coating on it, which will prevent these from corroding and rusting. So it will be easier to take out next time. However, if you were to take out an old plug and reuse it, you can see on the left, the old plug, the coating is no longer on the threads. So in that case, I would apply a little amount of anti-seize. Time to install the new plug. Put it into the spark plug socket. This is a must. You do not want to drop this inside. You could damage the tip. Make sure it's evenly inserted and then carefully thread it in. You do not want to cross thread it because it's an aluminum head. You can damage the threads. Do it carefully. It should go in pretty easily. If you feel any resistance, you should stop. The torque specs on this is 18 Newton meters. You never want to over tighten your spark plug because that can create issues down the road. That's all torqued to spec. Now just have to put the ignition coil back. Make sure it is seated properly. And this bolt here itself is torqued to 9.8 Newton meters. Put the connector back in and you're all set. Now I'll finish replacing the rest of the spark plugs. Now this wire harness, we have to kind of move it off to the side a little bit. So I'm going to remove this brake booster hose just to give me a bit more room. On the right side, we have to release it from the bracket. So just take a flathead screwdriver on the top part and lift it up. This is already cracked, so it'll slide off pretty easy. So now we have enough room to unplug the connectors and change the spark plugs. If you need more room, unclip the wire harness clip from here. Then move the wire harness right to slide it off the remaining bracket. For the VTEC engine, the harness will be slightly different in design and you may not need to move it at all. I'm taking out these two spark plugs at the same time because I'll show you in a minute why. One has a bit of oil on it, other one has a crack, the ignition coil. I want to check this plug. Plug looks actually okay. Here you can see this ignition coil I took from this first cylinder. You can see the fifth plug and there's a bit of a crack, not a bit, on the boot. And this one next to it has some oil on it. Coming back to this one with the cracked boot, just have a look at this. There's a crack here. This looks like it has been repaired. Let me see what I can do to temporarily probably seal this up, fix this up, because we don't have any new ignition coils. So this is a lesson learned that if you are changing plugs and your coils haven't been changed after a long time, change the ignition coils too. I had a look inside the spark plug chamber and it looks clean. There's no oil. So whoever changed the spark plugs last probably just had dirty hands or gloves. This engine doesn't burn oil and there's no sign of oil fouling on the spark plug tips. Okay guys, what I've done is that I've changed the remaining spark plugs and I've reinstalled the ignition coils. For this one which had the crack, I applied some epoxy glue. I had some industrial epoxy glue and I applied silicone dielectric grease around it. So hopefully I can stabilize the spark, prevent any arcing from happening. Again, this is just a temporary solution. This car basically belongs to a good friend of mine. You are a good friend, right? Yeah. So this is just to get him home so that we can get the right ignition coils and replace them. Don't forget to reconnect the electric connectors, put this bracket back in place and reattach the brake booster hose. I asked NGK about other longer duration plugs. The original plug which Honda recommends, you can see an 11 at the end of the part number. This is basically the gap. So 1.1 millimeter. Honda recommends for this engine, the gap should be 1 to 1.1 millimeter. NGK recommended this platinum spark plug, and here we can see the gap is mentioned at 1 millimeter, so within spec. Then you have this iridium plug, which has an 11 at the end, so this has the proper gap, 1.1 millimeter. The basic spark plug, which we just installed, these are recommended for 30,000 miles, which is around 40 to 45,000 kilometers. The last thing is to put this cover on. If you had the VTEC engine, you didn't have to take this off in the first place. Just put these two bolts back in on both sides and you're all set. The only thing left now is to get the ignition coils and replace them. Hope this video helps, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Why change the spark plugs? This car would hesitate when accelerating at low speeds at a low RPM. I connected a scanner and there were no error codes. Before changing the spark plugs, I test drove it and the hesitation did not happen. However, the engine felt very sluggish. These plugs are only driven 20,000 kilometers and there is a lot of carbon fouling. The edges of the electrode, the tip does look fine, a very slight amount of wear. I test drove this after and there was a massive improvement in engine performance. After 3 weeks, my friend told me, and he's still on the same old ignition coils, that there has been no hesitation, there is no engine misfiring. I believe the weak ignition coils are causing this excessive carbon fouling. It's not providing enough electrical power. I'll give more details of this further in the pinned comment.